Hi all, you've probably heard it. Conan Exiles finally received the Unreal Engine 5 treatment, at least if you're playing on Steam. Now, this new enhanced version comes with a full visual overhaul, from lighting, textures and materials, to overall performance improvements. But there's more, so let's break down some of the other big changes that have been announced and some you might not know yet. First off, one of the announced changes, but easy to miss, is the support for additional save slots. This means that in single player and co-op, you can now easily swap between 3 characters on different worlds. So starting a new playthrough, solo or with a friend, has gotten a lot easier to manage. The next big change is the merging of the Exile Lands and Sipta DLC map. If you own the DLC, you can now easily teleport between both maps with your character, and play and build on both maps. You don't need to switch servers anymore. This is a major shift from the legacy game, where each map required its own separate server and character. There are several fast travel NPCs in the Exile Lands and on Sipta, which will teleport you to either map when talking to them. For example, one of them can be found just outside the tavern in Sepemeru, and one of the Sipta NPCs is located at the camp of the castaways. You can find a guide with all locations on our channel, which we'll link to in the description and on screen. Let's quickly talk performance. While there seems to be a general concern that an upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 could lead to worse performance, despite the intended opposite and higher minimum requirements, the change is unlikely to make anything worse for most. Like in the legacy version, we have had no issues running the game on max settings. Of course, this is based on playing the preview build in single player and co-op mode only, and having quite beefy PCs. One long requested feature that has finally been implemented is the ability to craft, repair and build directly from storage. While the option to build from your followers' inventory was added not long ago, being able to now craft from most types of storage is a massive quality of life improvement. You can also find a UI option within workstations and storage that lets you toggle whether that container shares its content for crafting and building, or disable it if needed. Now, in addition to the engine overhaul, there are also several quality of life improvements. For instance, the game's UI has seen a complete overhaul, including inventory and game menus. And in addition to the visual changes, a lot has been tweaked and hopefully improved. From how information is displayed, like for example the option to display survival stat details, to where buffs and debuffs are shown, and things like the updated optional compass. The UI of inventory and crafting stations is overall less condensed and more convenient to navigate. There's also a new option to craft many that brings up a handy slider, and at long last, improvements have been made to the search filters. What's more, the knowledge menu now has an option to show or hide DLC content, which can be really helpful if you don't want to see all the cosmetic clutter. The Bazaar UI now features up to 13 packages, up from 7 in the legacy version. This is still not what we think the Bazaar should look like, but hopefully it's just the first of many future improvements. It also looks like the menu when building with the construction hammer has seen some tidying up in relation to item categories, which is great. These are just a few examples of things that stood out to us, but seeing that even less critical areas have received some love, we hope there's more and that we'll see more ongoing polish and fixes moving forward. On the topic of settings, you can now find several new options under your game settings, from advanced graphics options like DLSS, which the legacy game never supported, to new server settings. For example, one that lets you adjust the streaming distance for player buildings in the world. Speaking of buildings, you can now build pillars on corners. Yep, you heard right. We finally have native corner pillars, and it seems they have been added to most if not all sets. To be honest, not having that option bothered us for a long time. And while you could always use some building hacks, it was tedious and tricky when building more complex structures, so this is a big win. Now, when creating or customizing your character, you'll notice a few more options as well. For example, the ability to select a secondary hair tint. as well as additional iris colors. And finally, we are getting the option to adjust body hair opacity as well as color, which affects both armpits and private regions. Lastly, certain sliders seem to have had their min and max values increased. Not sure this was desperately needed, but probably highly desired by some. While starting a new character on our preview build, we also noticed that the journey system updated several steps from journeys we didn't have selected as active. Only having active steps completing was very annoying previously, so if this is the new way the journey system works, it's definitely a welcome change. We'll keep an eye on this one. If you're a Conan Exiles veteran, then you surely remember that some of the ghosts you can find across the Exile lands have gone missing over the past few years. Well, it seems they're back, at least many we knew were bugged, like the ghost opposite of Scavenger's Birth and the one at Death Whisper Ruins. This is clearly not critical, but smaller fixes like this give us hope that the enhanced version includes a lot more hidden fixes for long-standing issues and critical bugs. So fingers crossed that enhanced does not only mean prettier and less janky, but also better and truly improved over time. With that said, what do you think? Don't forget to drop a comment, and if you'd like to see more content from us, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe or join our channel.